Hello, welcome to the Triple V podcast. It's me, Dan.
And me, Matt.
It's time to crack open a can.
And spill the tea. How you doing, Dan? You alright?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you. Yeah, not bad, thanks.
You enjoying your Galahad?
Galahad's probably not enjoying it, but it's okay. So thank you for buying it for me.
That's
so,
alright. It claims to be refreshingly excellent, doesn't it?
Wow. Oh, there, yeah,
On
yeah.
Do you think that's a bit of a push?
A massive push, yeah. It's okay, but it's quite sweet. So I'm not a massive fan of it, but
You think Galahad's sweet?
I think so, yeah.
Controversial. Alright, fair enough. Well, we'll start off on something we discussed last week. So we discussed about if you were to run for guild president, what would your little nickname be? And I asked the comment section to contribute, and the response was poor, to say the least. We got no comments. But I think that's just because we've got quite a shy audience. They're just not very...
Yeah, we don't know who they are, basically. So
Yeah.
there seems to be quite a few of them, but we have no idea who they are.
We'd just like you to contribute, you know.
Exactly,
We have
yeah.
a 100% reply ratio with every comment, so if you comment, we will comment back.
Yes,
Give it a like.
absolutely, yeah. And you might not feel comfortable to comment as yourself, so you could always get like a pseudonym or some kind of blank profile to comment as someone else.
Yeah, that would work. But anyway, so we had to come up with a few names of ourselves, just to make us feel a little bit less bad about the lack of comments. So our editor-in-chief, Jamie, he suggested Danger Dan. That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay, yeah. I prefer yours, though, for me.
Thank you. Mine's DM Dan.
Because people like to slip inside of my DMs.
Yeah, that's the idea, is that you'd be a very open president, so you could always talk to him. So it's like DM direct message.
Yeah.
And that's also Dan's initial, so I thought it was perfect. But I don't know, we were hoping for more audience interaction on that one, but that's all right.
Yes, yeah, we were, but I probably will never run for the guild president, so that's hopefully I won't ever run.
So basically, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, because it would be like kind of trying to think of some kind of dictator taking over like a country. It'd be a bit like like when Pinochet kind of took over Chile. So yeah.
It wouldn't be as radical as Two-Ply guy though.
No, not quite. Although, yeah, I would favour 2-ply over 1-ply, but anything over 3-ply is just it's not a good thing, is it? There's a limit to your toilet roll. So, bit of context. A few years ago, a person run on a platform of providing 2-ply toilet roll
across campus,
because currently most campus is a single ply. And
it's pretty weak.
It's far too weak, isn't it?
It's basically see-through.
You've got to be careful. It's translucent, isn't it?
It is translucent.
Yeah.
It's a problem. But just double layer it if you need to.
Yes.
Worst comes to worst.
Yes. Yeah.
So 2-ply guy, he didn't actually get that much support because that was his literal only policy.
Yeah.
I feel like it lacked substance. I mean, although you might have agreed with that one policy, it didn't. He had nothing else with which to go off. So. Anyway, can't be helped. If you run, you could run as a 2-ply guy.
I could do, yeah. I'm not going to run, so okay. I mean that'd be like one of my many kind of
you'd
policies,
have many radical policies.
Yeah,
definitely.
Right. So talking about radicalism, tomorrow we're both attending the climate strike in Birmingham.
We are. It's a global strike.
So not just in Birmingham, but all around the world.
We will be in Birmingham, but it is global.
Yes, yeah, and we're going as part of Amnesty, aren't we? So we're going to have some posters there we've made. You've made a lovely poster. Which is more to do with the university, isn't it? So yours is more to do with David Eastwood, who is our glorious VC,
who no one likes,
and for probably good reason as well.
But when I made my poster, I came to an Amnesty session, made it. I thought it was quite powerful. It's it's striking. It's got basically I use red paint, and it looks almost like it's blood running down the poster. It's, it's quite. It evokes a lot of thought.
Yeah, it's pretty threatening. That's what I would say.
Well, I don't want to be physically threatening.
If he saw it, he'd be quite concerned that you're going to probably,
Oh well, I don't want to give the impression I'm going to murder him.
Yeah, but that's what it looked like. It's kind of looked like smeared it in blood or something. It was quite scary, but
I got a lot of criticism for it.
Yes,
and not even to my face. It was behind my back criticism for this poster that I made.
Yeah, partially just criticism. I don't know,
You think it's? I don't think
maybe,
it's deserved.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think it's probably better than the old Joe Clockface that we've seen, which is literally one of the members has been doing he has refused to come to future meetings and spent about he's not coming anymore, and he spent about 4 weeks. We won't name names, but he's one of two males who goes down the stage. But he's made like 4 meetings, using our paint to make a big kind of old Joe clock face. And
how much progress had he made on it by the time he reached the last one?
So it wasn't the clock face itself was done, but that was like black kind of like kind of the letter, well the numbers really. Apart from that, it just nothing really gone on there. So yeah. But...
See, in the session that I went, I painted mine in one session. It was very effective. I used speed effectively, and then he managed to. I think he painted like half of a little clock face in the session that we had. So. Whose is better really in the long run? Arguably mine.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, the important issue is the climate strike.
Yeah.
We'll encourage everyone to strike. Show the country. Show wherever you are. Although I imagine most of our listeners are in Britain, but we need to show the world.
In Birmingham,
probably just.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a few around. But anyway, it's important. Such an important issue that our planet needs action now. And we need we need the government to realise that. We need worldwide people need to recognise it.
Got quite a few supporters, I believe, in Tyneside, haven't we? So, Sunderland, that kind of thing. So,
not Sunderland. Yeah.
I wasn't... Oh, right.
Oh, good one. Yeah, well, shout out to my mum and dad.
Woo!
I had a lovely time last weekend at home, so I look forward to going back for Christmas now.
Lovely, okay,
Hopefully they're listening to this
now. Very sweet of you, okay.
Yeah. I know my parents will be at the climate strike as well.
Oh, will they? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got like time off work, or they're choosing to?
No, they're striking. Well, I think to be fair, my mum will get time off work for it.
Oh, right,
I said to her, you should strike, so don't take time off work. But at the end of the day, she can do, so she might as well. So.
Okay, yeah.
I still support her action.
Yeah. So I know there's if you know Birmingham very well, in Victoria Square, there's a big kind of Christmas market going on. And so
I think it's the world's biggest Christmas market outside of Germany. The world's biggest German market. Outside of Germany, is that right?
It's a bit of niche, maybe
I
not.
think it is.
Is that correct? I'm getting nods
there
from...
was a tannoy in the train station that was telling me that.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I
believe that then. But, so I believe it's like assembling around like St. Martin's in the Bullring instead. So,
yeah.
But I've got no idea. But hopefully it'll be good fun. We've got our placards, we've got some, we were debating maybe like taking like life jackets as well because, kind of showing kind of rising sea levels. We got them in the Amnesty locker room. So, yeah, I think
that would be powerful.
But,
I like that.
So nice and early wake up tomorrow. Be good fun hopefully. So yeah.
It's just everyone needs to realise how important this issue is and how we need to act now. We're running out of time desperately, and everyone can do a little bit, but also through protesting we can try and bring long-term governmental political change, which is also very important. So.
Yes, and on that quite heavy note, let's go on to a more light note with a RuPaul.
This will probably be our final UK RuPaul segment for the podcast for quite a while.
For quite a while. Well, until the next series, which is hopefully
it's
quite
definitely
soon.
going to happen then.
Yeah, it's been commissioned and whatnot, so they're looking out for queens. So, any aspiring queens are listening out, just go onto the BBC website and there'll be links on there for it. So, but what a final episode. Absolutely amazing.
I'll be honest, Dan, I haven't seen it, but that means you can tell me all about it now.
Yeah, so 3 finalists, Vivian, Bag of Chips, and Davina McCall, the DDC, all worked their asses off to get to the final, and in the final they really kind of proved they were the 3 top queens.
Should we? We'll put a spoiler alert just here because you're going to reveal who wins it, aren't you?
I'm going to I mean, you've had time, so
it's been a week ago today.
So the Vivian won it, the whole thing, and she was crowned the winner.
Deservedly?
Absolutely, yeah, really, yeah. I mean, what annoyed me though, she kept on saying, I'm a humble lass, or I'm common as muck. Turns out she went to a boarding school or a private school in North Wales. So maybe not so common.
Not so common.
Yeah, not like Bag of Chips, proper working class. But no, they're all fantastic. I'm glad Davina. I'm unpopular now, but I'm glad Davina didn't win because to me Davina was British drag is all about kind of being funny and actually having a good laugh, being quite witty, being kind of anti-PC. And Davina was funny in her own way, but I didn't find her overly funny. Yeah. And again, it's laughing at her own jokes and stuff, which we do quite frequently. But I wasn't a fan of her. But
that's all right. So she came third, or was there not really a ranking?
No. So Bagger came third.
Bagger came third.
Yeah, so Bagger came third, but again, I get why because gotta be honest, Bagger, your runway looks fairly appalling at times. They're a bit,
really?
Yeah, they're a bit kind of loose and a bit kind of kind of bit thrown together.
She had character, didn't she?
Absolutely, yeah. I think if it wasn't for her wit and her kind of her abundance and confidence. Like, you know,
she wouldn't have got very far.
Confidence and abundance. Yeah, she wouldn't have got that far. But no, I think it's absolutely brilliant, and also I think it's good. Kind of, I think more people in the UK will now also watch the American one as well.
Do you think?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Do you think more Americans will have watched the second UK one, or do you think it didn't in any way affect Americans? Do you think it even got overseas or not?
Well, I think there was certain kind of like stereotypical kind of British references like there to kind of appeal to like a kind of
okay.
So, you know, the kind of like whole kind of like focus on kind of the Queen and stuff, and kind of, you know, like James Bond is a bit like, oh god, it's a bit tiresome, but I think that is to appeal to like a kind of like American market, but...
which is fair enough. It does make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Can't blame them.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to season 2. And yeah, I think the Vivian deserved to win. So
well, that's good. I'm glad it ended well. Really, it's good. It's sad that that's going to be the last RuPaul segment for a while. But
I know, yeah. Well, not sad for you, maybe, but it's sad for me.
I found it interesting.
It's my little niche in the show.
It meant I always had the opportunity to find out actually what happened, because I've never had the time to watch it. Maybe next season we can watch it together, and then I'll be able to offer my opinions on it as well.
Okay,
we'll see.
Talking of niche interests, Newcastle FC, or NUFC, as I should say.
I wouldn't describe it as a niche interest.
Okay, well, niche outside of like the kind of, you know, kind of Tyneside,
Tyne and Weir area.
Yes, I think so,
well,
yeah.
not even Weir.
Yeah,
Maybe it is a bit niche, but basically on Monday night I went to see Newcastle play Aston Villa at Villa, because obviously living in the Birmingham area, it makes sense for us to go to the away games which are nearby, because it's a perfect deal. You get an away day experience without having to travel for hours on the coach to get anywhere. Because my friends came down, and it was an evening game on the Monday, and they got home probably about 3 a.m. after seeing us lose 2-0. That is just really sad. I mean, it was miserable enough being there, but at least I could go home fairly quickly. But can I just say, like, the Sky Sports and BT have literally no regard for fans' well-being and welfare whatsoever. They rearrange fixtures later on, so that people who have bought tickets and made travel arrangements, so it's really awkward. And they put teams that are so far away from each other on ridiculous times. So Newcastle to play in Birmingham on a Monday night at 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
it's 4 or 5 hours away from Newcastle. It's just ridiculous. It's a lack of regard for the fans.
Well, it's killing the beautiful game, really, isn't it?
It is.
It's killing the beautiful game.
I've always been against the idea that you have to pay to watch football, because I remember the ITV Champions League days every Tuesday.
Do you mean purely on TV, as opposed to like you agree you have to pay like in real life to watch?
Oh yeah, of course, going to a game, but like
yeah.
I just remember when Champions League was free on ITV. Those were the days. Now you've got to pay a fortune to. I think there was a statistic somewhere about how much you'd have to pay if you wanted to watch your team play, if you were to follow a team that was playing in European competitions, and it was over £500 you'd have to pay to watch your team in every game.
Kind of playing like devil's advocate, do you not also believe that the role of Sky and BT have increased the kind of competitiveness of the Premier League, in terms of they've been able to provide the large wages and attract the players from abroad, and kind of create a very competitive, very kind of envied kind of league around
Perhaps, but at the end of the day, I think football should be a sport for the fan. The fan should always come first, and I just feel like that's just no longer a priority.
Okay.
So that's what I think. But Newcastle still sold out the away end on a Monday night. So yeah. And we did watch one of the worst performances I've seen away in a while.
I can't believe you said about the bar as well being closed. Like there's like no alcohol at the actual worst.
Well, so there's 2 tiers. There was a lower tier and upper tier. And the lower tier, they sold alcohol at an extortionate price, but I mean, that's understandable. And then in the upper tier, they didn't sell any alcohol. Yeah. So it didn't even get to drown our sorrows.
Rowdy, upper tier people. So,
I don't know why. I don't understand the logic of that.
Yeah, I worked at Villa for a while.
Not a massive fan.
Not a fan of. So I was working in the kind of like corporate area, and I doubt there's any kind of corporate listeners in, but they were awful people, Matt. They really were. Like,
really?
Villa fans are bad enough, but like corporate Villa fans are even worse. They were all there, paid for by the company. They trashed the place. They were rude, obnoxious people. And I was glad when they lost. I wasn't glad because they all kind of came in, kind of drinking their sorrows. And also, they would tip the girls very, very heavily, and I never got tipped.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah, it's quite upsetting for me. But no, I was. I'm not a massive fan of Villa, so I'm also not a massive fan of Newcastle.
Well, no, but you're not expected to be, are you?
No. But I was sad to see them lose against Villa.
Thank you.
So
It was sad. It was sad.
your brother came over as well.
He
So
did, yeah. It was nice to see him.
I walked in and kind of about 4 very tall people were at the staircase. Like, what?
Yeah.
Who the hell?
Yeah, it gave you a bit of a shock, didn't it?
Yeah,
but, No, it was nice to see him. Even if he was in the lower tier and I was in the upper tier, so I didn't even get to stand with him. And it was his first away game as well. So he's gone off with a bad start. Didn't even get to see us score a goal. Oh well.
I've only been to a few away games, mostly in Sheffield. So we're like LCFC, big fan here. And
big fan is an overstatement. It's a massive overstatement, isn't it?
Okay. So I've been to a few Bramall Lane games in the past. It's good fun. So.
Well, your dad has tried to make you a football fan for the probably first 12, 13 years of your life.
Well, not only a fan but also a player. But it never kind of not a player as in something seriously, but a player as in play like at a local league. Or
like with your brother and the local lads.
I was like, I'm on the left wing, so I'm left-footed, but I was never particularly a fan of it. I was not that bad. Like the people worse than me who played regularly.
Really?
But
if it's not for you, it's not for you.
And if they're worse than me, they must have been bloody awful.
Really?
So,
Well, Leicester are doing well this season. You must be happy about that.
Well, yes and no. No, because I'm quite indifferent to how they do, but yes, because I've got a bet on my friend Sam, and if they come in the top 4, I win £10 off him.
Yeah,
so.
That's looking like quite likely at the moment. So let's hope, for your sake at least, that they continue in that similar fashion. You get that £10.
Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, it's going to be like a kind of spotlight on a film I saw the other day.
Yeah.
So, not a film in cinemas.
Brace yourselves, people, brace yourselves.
a film on Netflix. So, I was going through Netflix, and I was looking, me and a friend were looking for like the kind of most funny name that we could on like a Netflix. We saw Shrek 2 about a week or so
Great
ago.
film.
Great film. What should we watch?
You were looking specifically for a film that had a funny name.
Yes, yeah.
And you thought that would be enough to make the film funny as well. Was that the idea?
Well, we have like no kind of criteria. So if we kind of thought
you just go for it.
Exactly.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, and we came across a film called Papi Chulo. So we've got probably a niche of listeners who will understand what papi means, kind of beyond the Spanish kind of papa. And basically what it was about a guy whose elderly husband or boyfriend called Carlos. Can I spoil this, or is it okay? Do you think...
What, do you want to put another spoiler alert in?
Yes, go for it.
It's going to be a spoiler alert now.
Okay, thank you.
If anyone happens to watch a film, which chances are you won't.
Okay.
But we'll first of all say, if you want to watch a film, do so now. Pause and then come back. And now Dan's going to spoil it for you. Okay. That's there we are.
So great family film. It's about a man who his boyfriend was elderly boyfriend, so elderly man friend, I guess, dies, and he becomes a raging alcoholic, and but finds a Mexican immigrant called Ernesto Chulo. And he gets him. First of all, it's purely paid for. So like, he gets him to like sand his deck and kind of like paint and stuff. And eventually, this bloke kind of gets a crush on Ernesto. It's a bit awkward. Like he goes for the kiss. Ernesto has a wife called Linda, and Ernesto's not so sure. And then Ernesto leaves this guy who's a weather reporter and whose husband has died, or boyfriend. I'm not sure. And then he hunts down Ernesto at a party and embarrasses Ernesto in front of everyone.
Oh no!
But then Linda leaves Ernesto, or something happens between Linda and Ernesto.
Is it not made clear?
Well, it's not quite clear. It's
okay.
A bit of ambiguity. And Ernesto and a random boy then goes to like live at this bloke's house, and he recovers seemingly quite easily from his alcoholic ways. And it's different. Also, Ernesto Chulo, Papi Chulo, that's, because he's a papi, that's why they call him Papi Chulo. And the name plays because he's a papi in more ways than one. If you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get the gist, yeah. I mean, it sounds good, sounds interesting. I'm not sure. The way you said it was family friendly, but then you talk about big issues like alcoholism that just suggests perhaps it might not be as family friendly.
I mean, like, okay, so Hollyoaks, which is on about 2 hours before don't want to bash Hollyoaks again, but it's on about 2 hours before the Watershed. regularly features like worse issues and kind of like it talks about coke, heroin, all sorts, like racism, Islamophobia. Like it touches them on, and that's still kind of quite family friendly. So I would back Ernesto. I'd back Papi Chulo as a fun family favourite at Christmas time. So if you got your grandparents around, you got your your parents.
You really think it would be suitable for grandparents as well?
It's about a story of finding yourself, about love beyond generations, intergenerational love. I think it's a very beautiful story.
It does sound very inspirational.
I mean, inspirational, yes. Aspirational, no.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I still think you should have watched Shrek the Halls. Following on from Shrek 2, it seems like Shrek the Halls is the necessary progression. But
well, I was recommended Shrek the Halls, and I think that's a pretty bad idea. Also, there's a new one actually. Well, not a new one, but I didn't realise there's a spin-off. So everyone's heard of Shrek the Halls.
Of course.
So there's a spin-off called Shrek. Oh yeah, Scared Shrekless.
Scared Shrekless. Lovely.
Scared Shrekless. Which is about it's a kind of like Halloween themed kind of Shrek episode. About half an hour long. So if you got a free half an hour, feel free to, or I fully recommend seeing Scared Shrekless.
Have you seen it?
No.
So you recommending it based on what?
Based on, it just sounds really cool. And
I guess it's part of the Shrek franchise, which we love and adore. So fair enough. That's good. It sounds like Papi Chulo is a good film.
Okay, lovely. Right, so we've had some controversy earlier today.
We have. It's been a big debate.
It's been a big debate purely because like the kind of the opposing view from both me and you is so like
shocking,
disgustingly offensive, isn't it? So,
it is. Well, don't worry, guys. It's family friendly, disgustingly shocking. It's just we feel quite strongly about it, so that's why we're. So basically, we have a friend who believes that the Beatles is were nothing effectively, and that a song called Dance Monkey is somehow more influential than the entirety of the Beatles.
Well, no.
Is it a song or an artist?
Yeah,
I don't.
An artist.
The fact that they don't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
Reflects a lot.
Yeah. So the artist is called Dance Monkey.
Okay.
I believe. But yeah, so the idea is that this one song by an artist called Dance Monkey, who no one really knows about and has no kind of like weight or kind of actual musical ability, or very limited, is somehow better than the whole catalogue of the Beatles, which went on for years and years and years.
And they were number one the other day, weren't they?
They were number one a few months ago, and their music is timeless, it's classic.
Yeah.
Everyone has a favourite. Everyone knows Beatles. Like, I think they're part of the fabric of the country. Like
they are. Even at a football stadium, you will hear numerous Beatle tunes.
Of course,
used.
yeah. They really are. I think you'd struggle to live in this country and not hear Beatles songs or be a fan. And I mean, no one struggles to live in the UK and not be a fan of Dance Monkey.
Well, apparently it's number 2 in the charts at the moment.
Yeah, number 2 behind, what's his name, KSI. So.
Yeah, well, that shows how good the charts are at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So. I mean, I think the fact that Dance Monkey is popular doesn't mean it's good. And also, the fact the Beatles are popular doesn't mean they're good. It's more the fact that actually their music is timeless,
Well, the argument that our friend was making was the idea that the Beatles were such a long time ago, people now don't really listen to them, and that the music that's more current is what is preferenced over the Beatles. What do you think about that?
Again, I think that's not true, because just because you like one song by one artist called Dance Monkey doesn't negate away from the Beatles in any way. And also, I think the Beatles have proven, because they were famous 50 years ago. I mean, Abbey Road came out 50 years ago, and that music is still listened to now, and it doesn't sound particularly relevant, but actually it's still really enjoyed. Yeah. And in a way, I don't think Dance Monkey will be in several years' time. And talking of 50th anniversaries, coming up next year is the Glastonbury 50th anniversary. Yeah. And
big deal.
They've announced, so Diana Ross, Inside Out, that one. She's going to be performing on the Legend slot.
That's pretty cool.
On the Sunday. But before then, on the Saturday night, playing on the Pyramid stage, headlining will be Paul McCartney of Beatles fame.
Which shows how timeless they are. Really.
Exactly, yeah. So what's your opinion on kind of him headlining?
Yeah, I think it's great. Honestly, I'm a big fan. I'm even bigger fan of his partner, Linda McCartney, because of the vegetarian sausages she does. Absolutely brilliant. And sorry, I just the name. It reminded me of Linda McCartney, who does brilliant vegan and vegetarian stuff. But...
I mean, I kind of like Paul McCartney has a bigger kind of, a bit more clout than Linda McCartney.
Perhaps, sorry, I just got distracted. It was a bit of a tangent.
Okay.
I'm happy that he's headlining Glasgow. I think it's great. I think it'll be really good set. I mean, obviously, we haven't got tickets.
I mean, yeah, he can't really sing that well anymore, to be honest. He was ever like an amazing singer. Like,
Has it decreased? I haven't listened to
it.
He
sounds a bit croaky and he can't quite hit all the kind of high notes.
He doesn't need to, though.
Nah,
he can work
it'd be
with
great
it.
fun. Like, it'd be playing for probably about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Like,
Literally.
I might just Hey Jude would be bloody brilliant.
The crowd are going to be so up for it
I mean,
as well, aren't they?
I saw Foo Fighters, sorry, on the main stage at Glastonbury, on the Primus stage, and like it's like one massive kind of like karaoke sing along.
That must seem so good.
It was, the atmosphere, like everyone kind of comes together. People like bring a few tinnies. It's absolutely great fun, and like.
I feel like when everyone knows the words to like an amazing song, it's an amazing feeling, isn't it? Even just watching on the telly.
But I can't wait for Paul McCartney's cover of Dance Monkey's song. Like, oh god,
the crowd are going to love that. I mean, it is so popular.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably more popular than the whole kind of like Beatles. Catalogue. I mean, why would you bother playing the Beatles when you could play Dance Monkey?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And everyone's heard Dance Monkey, so...
Of course. Well, actually, Imagine Dragons, are they better or not?
God, we can't get into it. But our friend has also argued about Imagine Dragons being bigger than the Beatles as well. It's all very... I mean, it makes us sound a bit old-fashioned, but I just think it's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest with you. Well, maybe we'll get him on the podcast someday to defend his views. Although we don't want him to be hated by the wider public, do we? So perhaps not.
So if you think that the Beatles are better than Dance Monkey, please put a like on our video. But if you think that the Dance Monkey is better than the Beatles, please unsubscribe to our account and also dislike our video.
No. I think we should stay subscribed. You can dislike. We want to have feedback, so dislike it, but just stay subscribed and turn notifications on as well. We should be encouraging people to subscribe, not unsubscribe.
But I don't know. I want like a kind of very kind of wholesome kind of fan base. I don't want a fan base made of people who like Dance Monkey.
Dan, we have 10 subscribers. I don't think we have the power to be that picky about who's our subscribers. Well, anyway, we're on an even more divisive issue. I feel like we have to talk about general election. It's as we have done for every podcast so far, and it's such an important issue. Previously, we've been encouraging people to register to vote. That deadline's now passed, so I hope everyone has.
Well, yes and no.
Go on.
If you need to cast your vote anonymously, you can still apply for to vote. But that applies to people who are like kind of sufferers of domestic abuse, or they can't be tracked down and that kind of stuff. So so that's like kind of like 0.0% of the pop. Well,
okay,
more than 0.0%, but it's a very small percentage, but still really important.
Of course, yeah, but effectively for the majority, the deadline has passed.
Yes,
but again, we just have so many bugbears about the whole thing. It just makes you very angry. Particularly the BBC coverage recently, I've not been happy with. Big accusations of the impartiality of the BBC. So in the past couple of days, Jeremy Corbyn was subject to a Andrew Neil interview, and it was tough for him because Andrew Neil is very effective at grilling people.
Yeah.
But then it turns out Boris Johnson isn't going to be subjected to the same interview.
Which is entirely wrong. Yeah. First of all, both Nicola Sturgeon and Jeremy Corbyn got quite rough treatment. That's right. That's
how it should be.
Exactly. Yes. They're attempting to either, cause the UK to split up or run the country. And so, they have to be grilled, they have to be kept to account. But
definitely.
The fact that, the Prime Minister, who wants to retain his premiership, will not be receiving the same treatment,
It's shocking.
It's not the BBC's fault, but, I mean, just get some balls, man. Like, what are you playing at?
Yeah. But, I mean, I do feel like the BBC has some part to play in it, because on similar day as releasing this video of Jeremy Corbyn being being under scrutiny by Neil, the BBC have also released a video of Boris Johnson eating a scone, and the whole idea is that is a scone.
A scone, okay, yeah.
Scone. That's a debate for another day.
And do you put the cream on first or the jam?
Well, that's what they were. Boris Johnson claimed. Oh, I don't remember, because he didn't want to offend people. He doesn't remember.
Okay.
I think you put the jam on first.
I don't like that way. I'm more of a fan of cream than jam.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like the jam's usually easier to put on first, and then because the cream's quite hard to put on stuff on top of.
Yes,
Do you see what I mean?
I
I'm thinking
get that,
pragmatically.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's for me like kind of pure habit. It's going to put in the cream on first, then the jam. So, but yeah.
It makes it pure habit makes it sound like you do it very often.
I basically have high tea every day. So,
I've literally never seen you have a scone.
Okay, right. Well, you're missing out. So.
But anyway, the BBC clip, it very much gave the impression that Boris Johnson's just a man of the people,
exactly,
with his scone. And then in contrast to the video where Jeremy Corbyn being scrutinised, it just seems like complete impartiality.
Yeah, I mean, there was the Conservative journalist Peter Oborne has been quite critical actually of the kind of newspaper coverage and broadcast coverage of Johnson. He said it's like a court, so like the people follow him around, all these kind of journalists, and they're kind of reporting him as like a king or as a kind of like a medieval kind of monarch.
Yeah.
And so they're being quite uncritical. So because they're trying to get close to him and find sources and they're doing so, and they're trying to increase their kind of access to him by being quite uncritical. So client journalism he calls it. So
okay,
and that's
interesting.
That's someone who is actually he's a pretty die-hard conservative.
Really,
Peter. He writes for the I think he both writes for the Daily Mail and also for the Telegraph.
Nice.
But he's been critical of his fellow journalists and actually it's
that's good.
It's a form of pseudo kind of reporting. You're not actually you're not actually doing the role you should be. And also what happened the other day at so when Labour announced the whole document about the NHS, quite a breakthrough I thought.
Yeah, it was really big news. Yeah. For context, basically the Labour Party scrutinised the Conservative document, which basically detailed the US trade deal, and it suggested very much so that the NHS was going to be sold off in bits, and the medical supplies would all be related to the US, which was a massive threat to our NHS. I'm sorry, that's just the context. What we can.
Yeah, so there's several journalists at this kind of press conference, and one journalist asked a question about anti-Semitism, totally legit, but then had no question on the NHS. And you think, how lazy, like, to turn up to a press conference and not even have a question on the NHS, which so many people care about, just like anti-Semitism, just like racism, like, it's absolutely essential. And it's just, it's an absolute kind of, that they've lost all kind of sense of proportion and just...
In some ways, they've lost credibility as well.
Exactly. Do your job, like they're paid thousands of pounds a year. Like, just do your job,
Yeah. Well, actually, on the way back from the Aston Villa game, the taxi driver, I mean, he had some interesting things to say. Firstly, he was quite critical of history degree. But I tried to defend it as much as I could. I was also defending it, but also being aware I didn't want to make the man who had our lives in his hands by driving the car. I didn't want to make him too angry.
And also, you want to keep a good kind of Uber rating, don't you?
Of course. So, well, it wasn't actually Uber.
I wasn't. Okay, right.
No, it was taxi.
Was it Ola or was it?
No, it was a normal taxi.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
My phone's not fancy enough to operate an Uber app, but anyway. So his point was, he was saying some interesting stuff about how he didn't think we lived in a democracy anymore because he didn't think any of the media was free. He thought it was all because of the vested interest of the billionaires behind the media.
Yeah.
He was suggesting we didn't live in a free democracy. I thought that was very interesting.
Well, yeah, I kind of feel like big money in politics also is a massive influence. I mean, there's that guy called Christian Odey who works in the city, and he's a billionaire, and he's provided... Well, he basically bankrolled the whole kind of Johnson campaign to become leader of the Conservative Party and, by default, Prime Minister. And he was kind of so arrogant. So, I mean, the billionaires don't really help themselves because, they are all basically arrogant pricks, and so they aren't particularly helpful to themselves. And he was filmed, saying, "Oh, I'm basically donating the money not because I'm conservative at heart, but because actually I want these particular policies which will benefit me to be introduced in the country at the at the loss of everyone else. Because when you cut corporation tax or high income tax, who gets affected? It is the roads, the schools, the hospitals. And so I get his point. I wouldn't go as extreme as saying we're not in a proper democracy. we're in a limited democracy. Like,
Yeah.
I think the influence of big money and the influence of the both broadcast and newspapers is shocking. Like,
Yeah, it is.
thank God, like the newspapers, like in print anyway, you know, they're losing circulation, but online as well. Like what was it, the Mail Online? Like, it's probably one of the most visited sites in the UK, and it's absolute like yellow journalism. Like,
it's so bad.
Yeah.
And also, there's some horrible misogynistic stuff on there as well.
Yeah.
I have to say, the comments section of some Mail articles can be both annoying but also incredibly entertaining in terms of how deluded some of the people are. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, I think it's very interesting. I personally will encourage people to vote Labour. You know, we don't. You know, we can do that. I think on the podcast, be like, yeah, I think we should vote Labour.
I totally agree. So our final, last but not least section is the POVV. So if you were listening last week, it's point of view, then triple V.
Yeah.
And it's Matt's point of view, which is about something I think quite horrific, quite shocking, and just be sat down for this, because like this will be quite effective. Well, not effective. It'd be quite defective, really, isn't it? Anyway, you explain what it is, and you pitch your idea.
I mean, Dan's really set me up to fail here. Also, he's really bigged out as this horrific thing, which is absolutely not. Basically, I've since I came back from my summer holidays, my breakfast has basically consisted of overnight oats, which is it's like porridge, but you put it in the fridge. So you put milk and your oats in, and then you put it in the fridge. Then in the morning, you basically get this really nice, delicious bowl of cool porridge with little effort needed. It tastes delicious. It's less effort. It takes less time in the morning to make. You know, you wouldn't necessarily have it plain. You could put the same stuff you might put in porridge. I like bananas and blueberries. That's always nice. Maybe a bit of maple syrup, some stewed apple. You know, just mixing it up. And for some reason, there are just some people who absolutely despise the idea, and that's including Dan, and other people. But I do have a few supporters.
Yeah, you say for some reason. Can I?
Well, no, hold on.
Right.
So, well, Helena wanted me to shout her out because she's one of my supporters in the overnight oats camp. She thinks it's great. Okay. No, there's many supporters, but Helena, thank you, Helena, for your support. I appreciate it.
Okay.
So go on then, Dan. Have a go.
To quote you put banana in the overnight oats to shovel it down and to get it down you. How can it be that nice if you have to literally put banana in there to shovel it down?
Okay. On some mornings, I find porridge even worse. So Dan, I'd find porridge is hard to eat, even harder to eat, and I think overnight oats goes down easier, especially with banana, which makes it taste nicer.
Okay. I mean, I don't like it from both a moral and spiritual point of view.
Jeez, what do you even mean by that?
I'm joking. So, I mean, I'm not offended by many things. I've got quite broad shoulders, but the thought of opening the fridge in the morning, and seeing like a bowl of cement mix in the fridge, and then pulling it out and thinking, you know, welcome a new day. Good morning, you know. It's just, oh god, like I'm not a morning person anyway, and the idea of waking up in the morning and that being like my kind of, you know, welcome to the new day is just like
really.
It's just
honestly, Dan, you're gonna laugh, but I find it sometimes easier to get out of bed knowing I've got overnight oats in the fridge, which means it's gonna be a nice breakfast waiting for me, already made.
Personally, Frosties is, you know.
Dan, I don't understand this. Recently, Dan has bought 2 big packs of Frosties, and I've never seen the man eat cereal before in his entire life. And he suddenly made this sort of agenda that he loves cereal, but I've never seen you eat it before. What's come over you?
I've gone off eggs basically, so.
Oh.
I'm not
for vegan reasons.
Not for vegan reasons. I'm got a bit sick of eggs, so I've decided to go for Frosties instead, and I like them, and there's so much more filling and wholesome and flavoursome than overnight oats.
Oh my god, Dan! Surely you can't stand by that statement.
I think most listeners will be thinking, hang on a sec, why not just make porridge? Why not just go for porridge? Like, why go for overnight oats?
Because, as I said, it's cooler. Porridge can be too hot. It can be quite, you know, stodgy. Whereas overnight oats is like cool and it's smooth and it's really nice.
So overnight oats contains oats and milk. Porridge contains oats and milk. How can one be more stodgier than the other?
Because I feel like when you heat it, it's more likely to become stodgy than it is if you cool it.
Okay, or keep it the same kind of
Oh
temperature.
yeah, well it's
okay.
in the fridge.
I get porridge. I think waking up on a cold
You
winter's
you
morning,
understand the concept.
I like porridge. A bit of honey in there. It's quite nice. I don't think anyone's ever had to force down porridge in the way you've had to force down daily overnight oats.
I don't agree.
Okay,
But we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. I mean, you can.
Can we like in that debate where Boris Johnson and like Jeremy Corbyn have to like shake hands in like a really kind of fake manner? Should we do that or?
Yeah, okay, we'll shake hands overnight oats.
Should we high five?
Okay, well, high five again.
Okay.
Is this how we're gonna end every podcast now with a high five?
I like it. Yeah, why not? Yeah, okay.
I guess it's congratulating ourselves on a good job.
I think
good
so,
podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone likes it.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. So please like and subscribe. Again, I'm not good. Well, Matt would be probably not too selective. I am more selective. If you're a massive fan of what's his name, Dance Monkey, kind of
go away.
Go away, basically. Yeah. But,
no, please stay subscribed. Subscribe and hit the notification button so you get a notification every time we upload a video, which we've been pretty consistent with. So hopefully, again, we'll see you next week.
Hopefully, yes. So it's goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye.
How long was that?